You know, we, as a country, we always hold ourselves as being a tolerant country. New York State has always been tolerant. Our residents are tolerant, and we have been at the forefront of every civil rights movement in the history of this country, to its very inception. And so when we understood that in 2022, anti-Semitic hate crimes had doubled in New York City to 223, we understood from our own communities, from conversations we had in my district, and some of my colleagues had in their district, that we needed to have a closer look as to why, when we talk about tolerance and we talk about protected classes, why is it that time and time again there are excuses made for why it's okay to treat Jews differently? Hate crimes, BDS movements, rampant on college campuses, supporting anti-Jew initiatives. We've all heard, unfortunately, about students on college campuses being singled out and persecuted because of their faith. And frankly, if this were any other class, they would be protected, there would be uniform outcry, fill in the blank. If that class was subject to what we have seen on college campuses and across this state, we would do something about it. And yet, the media, the majorities in this place, and society as a whole seems to think it's okay for us to go ahead and allow for things to happen as part of a normal process here in New York, and it's not. So in February of last year, Leader Ort organized and announced this task force, February of 2023, well before October 7th, and the members of this task force set off on meeting with our local communities, having conversations with Jewish leaders, students in our local communities, and holding roundtables, which eventually led to this task force report, which we will be emailing out to everyone. So I want to take the opportunity to thank the members of the task force, Senator Weber, Senator Canzoneri Fitzpatrick, Senator Oberacher, Senator Griffo, and in a special way, thank Leader Ort for the initiative in putting this together and allowing us the opportunity to shed a spotlight on what's a very important issue. So through these efforts, we had roundtables in Rockland County, we had roundtables in Nassau County, and we had meetings with various groups. We came up with legislation that we are proposing as part of this task force going forward that will add real teeth to the efforts to combat anti-Semitism in New York. But it starts with one principle, and that is we revert to where we were at our inception and who we have been historically. Leaders in the civil rights movement, we stand up for our communities, we stand up for Jews here in New York, and there is no place in New York where there can be hate and where we will allow hate as a form of everyday culture. So I will tell you, I have a piece of legislation that I have introduced that will hold protesters accountable when they disrupt, frankly, our daily lives, be it in New York City. We've seen it at Grand Central Station. We've seen it on bridges. We've seen it on roadways, highways, where they turn around and, ladies and gentlemen, let's make no mistake. Let's not conflate the attacks in Israel and however you feel about Israel and Hamas for how Jews are being treated in New York. We will not allow our colleagues in this building to conflate Zionism and Israeli issues with mistreating Jews right here in New York. That's not going to happen. We've put forth a list of initiatives. I'll ask my colleagues to speak to their issues in particular and the bills that we have, but we call on the governor and the majority leader and the speaker to move these bills and provide protections for Jews in New York. It's time New York restored its mantle as the center of tolerance in the United States.